Waka, what's up, and welcome back to the channel for yet another Finch third-party Transformers review. And today on the table, I'm going to be playing a bit late to the party. When am I not late to the party? We're going to be taking a look at 2022 release of Fans Toys Tesla 2.0, their second attempt on this bot. I started collecting long after their first attempt at this bot, and judging by the pictures I see, I believe that I've gone with the correct one to go with, at least in my opinion, but we'll get into that very shortly. Incidentally, this is the last Fans Toys that I have, the last one for my shelf. I have gone through all my Fans Toys. How cool is that? Progress is awesome. So we're going to get right into it. There's quite a bit to go over with this guy. If you haven't already seen other reviews, it's a good one. We're going to take a look at the box real quick since I did not do a formal unboxing. Move Mr. Tesla off to the side. Of course, this is their take on a Masterpiece Perceptor, a second attempt at a Masterpiece Perceptor. We have Perceptor right up there with his clear chest plate. Fans Toys FT-46 Tesla 2.0. We have Perceptor in his tank mode, in his microscope mode, which he is most known for. FT-46 Fans Toys 2022. On the side, Tesla 2.0. Guess what is on the other side, just in case you forgot his name? Tesla 2.0. And then on the bottom, we have him in his tank mode. You can also click on the link to the instructions. They've been out for a while, though. There's tons of videos, but hey, what's one more? Tesla 2.0. And then on the top, you have him in his microscope mode, Tesla 2.0. And on the back, you have all the shots. You could pause and read the bio if you so desire. It's a very nerdy bio for a very nerdy bot. There he goes in his robot mode, and then all the poses that he can do with his guns and whatnot. And ages 15 and up, and Fans Toys 2022. And that's it for the box. And we will get a quick look at the collector's card. And of course, it is a nice 3D render of Tesla, looking a lot brighter in color than the toy suggests, but we'll get into that. FT-46 Tesla 2.0, and on the back, you of course have the same status. If you want to read it again, you can pause it, and there's the actual figure, I believe, and then a render. I think that's a render, and then a render of him in microscope mode, and a whole bunch of stuff. I bet the 10 is intelligence and smartness, or whatever it is. That's what the 10s are. And we'll take a quick look at the instruction booklet as usual. And of course, we have, oh no, it's too early for that. We have him in all his accessories. He comes with a lot of heads. I feel like there's a naughty joke in there somewhere, but I'm not going to say it. And of course, you see the instructions are typical Fans Toys instructions. Okay, and let's see, can we do it? We're gonna do it. Oh, it goes to tank mode first. He shows how much I look at these. Okay, and it shows you how to put in all of his accessories, and that is it for the instruction booklet. But of course, you can click on the video instructions. This was when they were starting to do those. And let's bring Mr. Tesla front and center. Let me lower the camera just a bit. First impression of this guy, he's got a great weight. First off, the weight is awesome, and that paint. This paint is just flipping phenomenal. It's a very nice kind of ruby red. Just looks really, really good. Really crisp colors. I don't even think this camera does it justice. Got a nice glossy tint to it. Just looks incredibly good. We'll get a look at his face right here, and you can see he's got kind of an kind of a deep blue for the eyes. Looks very good. They're painted like a chrome blue. He's got like kind of a pearlescent cream white for the face. Actually, it's more of an ice white, excuse me. And it looks like a little bit of clear plastic over yellow for his head crest. The helmet done in kind of a gun metal. Got a very nice red on his little microscope, which does kind of articulate. We were going to get into that articulation, but hey, what is a little bit early? Got a clear chest plate and some molded detail in on the chest. A little bit of silver there in the belly. And then, of course, got some mold detail, more gun metal right here around the crotch area. Moving on to a very light blue. Just a lot of really nice colors. And the chrome accents with all the wheels and spindles look really good. The feet feel very heavy. The lower legs, I mean, very heavy feeling. And they got that nice glossy red paint. Looks really good. Got a little bit of molded detail on the side, especially where things click together. Coming around to the back, you can tell he's a very clean robot. And at the time, Fans Toys was looking to compete with X-Transbots. They're Janison, so this is kind of their offering. And overall, this just feels really good. Got some nice, you can see the craftsmanship, the nice silver for the knee joint. joints right there, and a very clean back. Just looks really, really good. Really impressive bot in look and feel all over. Getting into his articulation, his head is on a swivel. It will go all the way around very easily, I might add. It can look up just a little bit. It can look down quite a ways. The cannon, of course, or his little microscope goes up and down. You can extend his little microscope barrel, which is a nice touch. Just spin this wheel up here, and that looks really good. You can leave that position however you want. The arms, you can go all the way out on a universal, all the way around. Feels very nice. And then, of course, you have some bicep movement. You have a single jointed elbow that gets you a nice yeah. And then, of course, the wrist. If we come out, we can go all the way around. Mine are very tight. You can spin that all the way around. Then, of course, the fingers, of course, they are on a base hinge at the knuckle, and then, of course, a hinge right here. And then the thumb, I believe, is on a ball joint and a knuckle as well, so you can get all the movement you'll ever need. This is a typical fan choice. He'll move his arms out. He does have the very slightest of ab crunches, good enough. He does have a clickety-clackety ratcheted waist swivel. He does have all his pelvic pads. Actually, this is one giant pad back here, and they will all come. These are very tight on the front, incidentally. His legs will go up for a nice fusion kick on a clickety-clackety ratchet. They will go all the way back mostly back for a fusion back kick on a clickety-clackety ratchet out to the side on a universal, and then he does have some thigh swivel, a little bit tight on mine, and he does have a nice double jointed knee on that nice metal joint, clickety-clackety, at least at the bottom joint, and then, of course, the toe will tilt all the way down a little bit at the heel, as you can see, and then, of course, he will give you an ankle tilt very slightly, and that is pretty much it for articulation. So looks good, feels good, and lots of moves. He's got the moves like Jagger. And we'll move on to his accessories. The good news, he comes with quite a few of those. The bad news is that they are mostly alternate heads and faces. We'll get into them, but he's got them from the toy, from the comic, and I really only care about the G1 cartoon, so really only 3 or 4 of them are what I would use on this spot. Well, we'll get into them nonetheless, and I just kind of give this mark against this figure simply because, as you recall earlier, this came out at the same time as X-Transbot's Janison, their offering for Perceptor, and he came with a plethora, if you will, of accessories. He came with lab tools, he came with minifigures, he came with a whole lot, and it's just unfortunate that Fans Toys just kind of unleashed theirs with alternate faces and heads, but we will go over them nonetheless. So he does come with his weapons, of course. We'll go over those first, and he comes with his sniper rifle. It is done in a very nice, the same red, I believe, that you see on his body. It looks very, very good, and he has just enough detail to be interesting. Got the scope there, looks really good. Got the gun barrel, and then, of course, he does have the stabilizer right here that can sit and swing back and forth, and it does tab in on the hand through the typical tabbing in method. You can see it's got the slot right on the hand right there, and you can just put that in, and he will hold that extremely firmly, just like that. Another gun that he has is his little drill gun. That is done in a very nice gun metal. Looks really good. You can see the little flake in there, and it's got that nice ruby red that you see on his body. It also has a tab on the hand. There's a little some molded detail right here. Looks really good, and of course we can put that in his other hand, which also has the tabbing in function, and you can just close his hands up, and he will be able to dual fire, even though I think we only see Perceptor use a gun like a handful of times, at least in season 2. I'm not sure how much in season 3. It's been a while, but nevertheless. And we'll bring down his hands so we can get into the faces. Now, he does come with quite a few alternate faces. We'll start off with his cartoon faces. So, of course, he comes with a little kind of worried face, face, and the little Perceptor smiling face. This is kind of a dopey little smile. This is probably one of my favorite of the cartoon ones. And then, of course, he comes with a very kind of forlorn face. And how this plugs in is, you see on the back here, you have just this little square cutout and whatnot. And so if we look at his head, we're just going to kind of push it forward, and you can see you got that same square, and all you're going to do is you're just going to kind of put the head and just slide it right back in, and it will slide in and put in just fine. and there it goes, just like that. You are good to go. Next up, he does come with his toy head, of course, and that does have a nice silver on top of the cresting, on top of the gunmetal helmet. He's got a nice yellow for the eyes and more of that ice white for around the mouth. That looks good as well. And same thing, we're just going to pop that off, and you can see how he looks with his toy head on. And again, I'm never going to use it. I never had the Perceptor toy, and this just doesn't look right to me. But either way, you know, you can do that if you so desire. And then, of course, if you want, he does come with, I believe this is from his IDW, and or I'm sure one of the comics. Either way, and you can see he does have some nice molded detail on the helmet. Looks really good. Got a nice kind of crosshair molded in there for the little eye patch. Got more of that blue, and then a little bit brighter of a white on the face. It does look good. It's more of a stern face. He does have, this is probably my favorite face, even though I'm never gonna use that. He's got the molded detail yet again. He's got like his little robo teeth in there. You can see it's like a little etching there in the eyepiece. That looks good as well. It's like a little heart monitor or whatever, and you can kind of get his little dopey smile face. Again, he's got the little target sight there on, and he's got his blue for his eyes, and then of course you can take this off and you can put this on as well, and you can see how he looks with his with one of his comic book heads. And of course he does come with 2 additional faces for the comic book. He comes with a of course his standard eyes, just with his little robo goatee and like kind of smiley face. Same thing, and this head is more of a frown, a more stern face. And how this gets switched out is, if you look, we'll take his comic book head. If you look, he's got 3 screws on the back. You're just gonna undo the screw, undo the screw, undo the screw, and you can just dismantle his head. And I'll kind of do that off camera, and we'll see how to do it. And you can see all the screws are removed. So what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of wiggle his head apart, and you can see it just comes off right like that. You can see the little hoop that the face is attached to. You just kind of push back on that, and it should come off. And then you're just going to take the other face, and we're going to put it right back on. Just kind of loop it over, and then you could put the back of the head right back on, and that'll snap together, and then you can just screw it in, and there he is with his alternate face put on in the helmet. And for one other accessory, he does come with an alternate chest plate. And no, it does not come with the Autobot symbol. I put that on there because this is the chest plate that I display him with. But nevertheless, it is done in a very nice deep red. Looks really good. I think it goes really well with the robot. And how you do this is just kind of push from the top. And you will, it's hard to see, but he does have kind of these little clips right back here. And you're just going to push down on all of them all around. And then you'll see it slowly coming out. There it goes from the other side. And you're just going to take the chest plate out, and you're just going to push this right back in. Actually, push this up, and you notice that on the other side you have a clip on top, a clip on top, a clip on top, and you could just push them right into the corresponding clips, and they will seat. It will seat itself just fine. And there he is with his alternate chest plate, which again, I think looks really good. I think it just adds to the cohesiveness of the robot. And that is all for accessories. Lots of alternate heads. And for a few quick comparisons, we'll start off with the some Takara bots, so you can see how he scales with some of the officials. And there is Optimus Prime, the MP-44, and we'll bring in MP-17 Prowl so we can see how he looks. And he looks like he fits right in the scale, looks right at home with his fellow Season 1 Autobots. So actually, they wouldn't be his fellow Season 1 Autobots because he didn't appear until Season 2. And of course, we'll get him in there with a couple of his friends. There he is with Fans Toys, Brawn, I forget what they call Brawn. So Hunk, I'm sorry, I was looking at the box up on my shelf, and we'll bring in his buddy Blaster, who of course helped save him in the fortress at Autobot City, so we can see how that looks. And again, he looks right at home with his fellow compatriots. And there we go for a few robot comparisons. Alright, so let's get Mr. Tesla 2.0 transforming up into his alternate mode. The first of his alternate modes. He's got the super secret third mode, which isn't really a secret, but we'll talk about that a little later on. Now, for the most part, this is a relatively simple and straightforward transformation, hampered only on my copy at least by a few too tight joints, but we'll get to them as we get to them. So first thing we want to do is you want to take this shoulder pad, bring it up. It's just on a hinge right here, and you just want to fold it all around. Next, you want to take the hand, make sure the hand is in a fist. You want to rotate it all the way around just like this. Bring the arm out just like this so we can see what we're doing, and you're going to open this panel here. Very typical at this point. Just fold the wrist in and close that up. Then bring the arm all the way up. Make sure the arm is straight, and then collapse the arm just like that. I'm going to bring the camera down so we could work on the legs, and we'll start on his legs. So what we want to do is let's open up his hip panels real quick, give ourselves some room to work. Bring out the leg just like this, and you want to take the foot, fold it in just like that. And then for the heel, you're going to bring it down just like this, and then you're going to rotate it all the way in like that. You can see it rotates right on here. Next, what we can do is we can start opening up the leg. You're just going to open this up right here, and you see you got a slot right here, you got a tab right here. You're going to bring it down and open this up just like this and leave this open. And you can get in here, just kind of pull open this panel as well. You got a slot right here, you got a tab right here, and you're just going to bring this down just like this, open this up. Next, we can come back here and we can open up this whole panel right here and just leave that open. And now what we want to do is we want to move the leg up as though we're getting ready to seat him, and we just kind of want to bring the leg back so it's sitting just like this. Now we can open this tab up, and that's basically going to separate the leg. Now you see you got a tab right here and a tab here. This tab is going to go into here, and this tab is going to slot into the knee. And so what we're going to do is we're going to kind of bring the leg around. And while we're doing that, what we want to do is we want to take this whole assembly and swing it around to the opposite end. And it's kind of difficult to show on camera because I got to get my hands in, and there we go. And then what we want to do is we want to take this panel, we can close this up just like this, and we can start to bring in the leg. And you got to kind of give it a good push, and that will tab it in so it's looking just like that. And now what we can do is we can take this panel right here. You got it's just going to tab right in, right along here. You got a little tab right in here, and you're just going to kind of bring it up and tab it in just like that. And also, while we're at it, we can come back here and you can open up his butt plate and flip out his wheel. Just flip it out just like that. And that is basically it for one side for now. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side, and I'm going to do that off camera. I'll be right back. So now we have Mr. Tesla basically sitting like this. You can fold down the front hip skirts if you like. And what we can do is we can kind of come back here. We can kind of bring out this right here and just kind of bring it up. And then you just want to come under here and pop out his little chest plate just like this and bring it out just like that. Next up, what we want to do, and you might need a spudger for this, is we can pull apart his little sides right here. Just kind of pull them apart from either side. And this might need a spudger. There we go. So this came off a bit easier now. And what you want to do for now is you have this whole set of panels, and you're just going to kind of bring it out just like this. And then what we want to do is you want to straighten this out as much as possible, and then you want to start rotating this whole assembly. It's going to rotate with this head. And then what you want to do is you have this hinge here for the microscope. So you're just going to kind of bring up, and the microscope will fall off at times, but all you got to do is you see you got a rail right here, and you can just slide it right back on. And you're just going to put the microscope up like this, and then you can start rotating the head all the way around into the body, and then you can kind of bring the microscope up on this hinge right here, just like that. And now what you want to do is you can kind of close this chest panel right here, and that'll kind of form the center of the body. And now what we can do is you see you got a hinge resting in here. This hinge has a tab slot, and you're just going to kind of bring it up. It's on this double hinge mechanism like this, and you're just going to bring it up, and you're going to tab it into the hand just like this and kind of lock all of this in like this. And then what you can do is you can push open the arm. I forgot something. You can collapse the arm inward, collapse the arm in, and you got a tab right here, and it's going to go into a slot right here. And same thing, well, not the same thing for the other side. What you're gonna do is you got a tab on the arm right here. That's gonna go into this tab right here. So what you're gonna do is you are going to collapse this arm right here, collapse it in, and you're gonna close this up just like this. And that will lock everything in. And then lastly, you see you have a tab on each shoulder pad. You're gonna bring that down just like this. Same thing for the other side. Bring it down just like this. And now you can kind of bring the microscope up on this hinge right here. And you can kind of bring this down. And like magic, there we have Tesla 2.0 in his microscope mode. So there we have Mr. Tesla in microscope mode, and he looks relatively convincing as a microscope and is about as exciting as most microscopes would be, I do surmise. But overall, you are treated to more of that red paint. You do have some panels here, but overall it looks pretty seamless in this mode, especially since we kind of rearrange his chest steel area. Of course, the backside also looking very clean. Again, you do have kind of the adjuster details right here done in that nice silver chrome plastic. Same thing for the bottom of his little inspection dish. And you can, of course, move the microscope back up and down. Of course, you can adjust your little scanner here by turning this, which is a nice effect. You can't really look into it. I know I'm putting it up to the camera as if though you could see it from inside the camera, but it shows you nothing. Whereas the G1 toy would actually, you could actually, I guess, use as a toy microscope or whatever. Again, as fun as a microscope would be. He also does have wheels on the bottom. His heels kind of convert to wheels. This rolls freely. This back wheel rolls pretty freely, but he doesn't really roll too well on my table. So it is what it is. I'm not sure if many microscopes are supposed to roll anyway. And for a quick vehicular comparison, there is MP18 Streak. And of course, this looks absolutely ridiculous. This is the biggest microscope in the world, and he's bigger than a car. You could actually probably put the car on the, no, you could probably put the car on the inspection table, and he can give Streak an inspection and tell you all kinds of crazy things about Streak. But other than that, that is pretty much it for Tesla's microscope mode. Overall, pretty straightforward, and there it is. Alright, so let's get Mr. Tesla transformed up into his super secret third alt mode, or his tank mode, which is shown in the Cosmic Rust episode. I'm not sure if it's shown any other time after that, and quite frankly, I think it's kind of silly, but I guess he needed to have a mode where he could move under his own power without actually running in robot mode. So let's get underway, and we're going to fold up these shoulder pads on each side, and then we're just going to kind of start breaking him down. You might need a spudger. Oh, that's actually coming off pretty easily, and we'll do the other side as well, and we'll just kind of, there we go. And what we're going to do is we are going to pull up his forearms, and we are going to rotate them around 180 so that the hinge is facing this way, and then we're just going to push them right back in. Same thing for his other arm. You're just going to pull this out, rotate it around, and push it right back in. And then what we want to do is we can bring up the little spyglass, and we can kind of pull out his chest, and you're just going to kind of fold this over. And you got a tab here and a tab here, and you got two slots on here, so you're just going to kind of fold this over on this double hinge, and it is a bit tight on mine. And you can just rotate it over like that, and then you can bring this back down and just kind of set this down like this. And what you want to do is just kind of bring the arms down just as they were before, and you can just kind of plug this back into his chest. Oh. There we go, just like that. And same thing for the other side, and you can kind of fold this up just like this and plug this in just like that. And that is it basically for the top. You're just going to kind of fold the shoulder pads down just like this, and that is all for his upper half. We'll move down to the legs. So now we got him sitting like this, kind of pseudo inside out, and what we want to do is we're going to start on the foot. Now the foot has held into a tab right here and a little peg right on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of pull the foot out of its little tab connection. And there you go. And then what we want to do is you just kind of want to pull this away, and you can see the little peg kind of releasing itself. And there we go. And now the foot's going to come out on this armature. So what you want to do is you want to push this in. You're going to see the foot has a little holding area. You're just going to kind of push this into the foot, and you got this peg right here. And you're just going to kind of open up this flap right here, just like this. Bring this out, and then you just want to push this peg into the little slot right here that you just activated. And there it is, just like that. Then what we can do is we can start opening up the leg. Once again, we can open this up because we are going to take the foot out. And what we're going to do is we're just going to flip this whole armature back around to the way we originally had it. So we're just going to flip this all the way around. And then what we can do is we got a tab right here. It's going to go into a slot right on here, just like this. And this slot right here is going to go into this slot like this. It doesn't really tab in from what I've seen. I mean, this is the best I could get it, but just kind of holds it in position. And then what we want to do is we just kind of want to start locking the leg back in. So we got a tab right here. It's going to go into a slot right on here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to bring this out. We're going to bring this out, and you can see this is on a mushroom peg. You're just going to flip this around to reveal some tank treads. And then you got tabs and slots that are going to go into tabs and slots right on the lower leg, and that's going to lock in like that. Now what you're going to do is you're going to rotate this up just like this, and you got a tab right here that's going to go into a slot right here, and a slot tab right here that's going to go into a slot right on here. And this is just going to kind of hold his leg in place while we tab everything in. And there we go. And that is one leg pretty much all done. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'll do it off camera. So now you have him looking like this. You just want to make sure that his hip skirts in front are down as much as they can go. And you have a little tab right here, and you do have a little slot right up here in the little telescope. You just kind of want to bring this down and tab it as best as possible. It will sit decently, but the hinge really is strong enough to hold it up in position, even if this doesn't tab in all that firmly. And like magic, there is Tesla 2.0 in his super secret tank mode, I guess. I mean, he kind of resembles, you know, something tank-ish. He does have this tread detail. It's actually really nice tread detail. Got some ribbed detail right here. You have little wheels right here. They look a bit small for a tank this size, of course. But either way, or whatever size he's supposed to be, he does have actual wheels right here. This one doesn't. Only this one seems to roll well. This one's kind of stuck, and then these roll thoroughly well. Same thing with the wheels back here. But he does not like to roll very well on my table, which I'm 100% okay with, because I'm never going to display him in this mode again after this video. So there we go for that. Other than that, it's basically him in a weird yoga pose with his little butt crack and back showing off, I guess. But there's one perk to this mode. You can see he has two slots right here, and if you take his guns, he has a peg on his rifle, and you could just peg it in right into the slot there if I could find it, and you could peg that in right there. Same thing with his little drill gun. You got pegs on either side, and you could just peg that in right there. Peg that in, stay in place, and there it is for that. And I'm actually okay with this weapon storage, just because he really isn't any known tank, so this just kind of gives him some extra beef to launch in spite of his enemies. So there we go, even though I've never really seen Perceptor doing much of the fighting, and that's okay, because he is engineer bots, and engineer bots are supposed to engineer. And lastly but not leastly, let's just bring in Streak so we can see a comparison of a real world car with something that is not real world at all. But hey, that's how it looks, and that's how big he is, so take from that what you will. And that's going to be pretty much it for his super secret tank mode. So let's summarize, and there we have it for the Fans Toys Tesla 2.0, their second attempt at a masterpiece Autobot Perceptor, and in my opinion, they absolutely killed it. The paint is phenomenal on this figure. I love the nice red, even though there is some chipping, but I don't entirely blame Fans Toys for that. There may be some user error, as we do know I am a bit rough on my toys. It's also got a great weight, feels like a very nice premium product. I love how you can see the metal in the knees. Again, looks really, really good. Also, transformation to any mode is fun, intuitive, and overall very simple. That said, some of the joints on my copy are quite tight, painfully so in some cases. And in addition, as far as accessories go, I don't need 12 heads. It would have been nice to have something akin to what X-Transbots included in their Janison offering, something like some lab tools or whatnot. I don't see Perceptor as much of a fighter. I like to display my Autobots as I've seen them in the show, and he's more of an engineer, a science bot. It would have been nice to have something more akin to his character. But that said, don't let that hold you back from picking this up. This still is a phenomenal character, especially if you're looking for one to fill out your collection. I'll put a link in the description to Big Bad Toy Store or Chosen Prime if I see either one of them in stock, so you can get one for your own. And that being said, that is going to conclude this review. So if you found my review fun and enjoyable, consider helping me out by hitting that like button down below. I greatly appreciate it, and that definitely helps me out. Also, if you're not yet subscribed, I do review Transformers, both third party and official, quite regularly. Every once in a while we throw a mainline in there when JJ helps me out, so you'll want to stick around for that. Thank you so much to those of you that are. We are over the 500 marker, and I could not be happier. Thank you very much for joining me on this journey. And that being said, I have been FC Finch. Thank you so much for watching. Good night.